Hmm. Cool. Right. Good morning, and welcome to the last day of week 10.5, which I've dubbed Adventure Week. Now, I'd say a friend of mine was... I've just taken a week off, basically, from the whole Urban Agoge thing, although it wasn't like I wasn't getting exercise, or getting up early in the morning, or doing all my usual stuff. It's just that I had my best mate hanging out with me for a few days, and then I had some plans for the next days. So yeah, so my mate Dean was with me for the majority of my week off, Monday through Thursday, where we did the Oldham Way, or a bit of it, and then we went out on some other walks. Given that I was going to be walking very hard with a very heavy pack, I realised that I wasn't going to be able to do all my runs as well. So I treated the walking as my exercise, and there wasn't a day when we didn't go out for a nice long walk. So yeah, so that was cool. We didn't achieve the Oldham walk success that we were hoping for. As you can see from the videos I've uploaded, I was going to upload this video first, but I figured people would want to watch something. So yeah. And I'm aware that the wild camping video goes on for a long while, but you never see that end of wild camping where you're sitting in a hammock and chilling out and having a good time. So yeah. So 2 very long videos. The wild camping was good. I might well do another wild camping video at a later date. So that was 2 long videos. This video is going to be reasonably short. But Sunday morning, and as has become traditional over the last 10 weeks, I'm off out for my little 35-40 minute brisk walk. But I trade the brisk walk for the amount of scrambling about I generally have to do. So yeah. So at the beginning of the week, something happened that has changed my plans, at least financially, for this week. This week I was going to be buying a 3D printer. It's looking like that's a few weeks away now. But I had to make a cold hard choice because my mobile phone died. And part of the plan this month was to buy an Android 8 or better phone, like a really cheap one, just to act as a remote control for the gimbal and the camera. So that phone was going to cost me at least 40 quid. Repairing my smartphone was going to be somewhere between 25 and 40 quid, with no guarantee that the micro USB port was going to charge for very long at all. I repaired it a couple of months ago and it's already died on me. Whoop. So yeah, so I think in the last repair all they did was pop another blob of solder onto each of the contacts to hold it in place, but I don't think they used really great quality solder, which, you know, I was grateful for at the time it was repaired. But I realised that if I repaired my phone again, it was probably the law of diminishing returns. A couple of months later I would have to do it again. So that gave me a budget, if I was going to be looking at 2 repairs over the next couple of months, just to have the same level of kit. And I was going to buy an almost, you know, probably when you try to use it, an almost unusable Android phone. And given that I sometimes carry my phone out into the woods anyway, there would be a situation where I'd eventually end up carrying 2 phones, which isn't too good. So I had to get creative. So, not that I think he watches this show, I consulted my friend Andrew and gave him an idea. So I was looking at somewhere between £80 and £100 for a solution that would actually do it all. And I found the Honor 8S, which is a newish phone, has only launched this year. And it's Android 9, it's a little bit future-proofed. It's got a bigger screen, better cameras. I'm going to grab a seat. So bigger screen, better cameras, more memory. It's definitely faster, bigger battery life, although it doesn't have a removable battery, but but it does make it slightly more waterproof, which, considering what I'm now doing with outside filming and going into the woods almost every day, seemed to be more of a feature that was required rather than a removable battery. Now, I did find another solution which may be of use to you, which I'll review when it arrives. It's a little charger box that sort of has a spring sort of stretch mechanism on it that allows you to put in mobile phone batteries and charge the battery itself and then put that into the phone, which could be doable. But we'll see. I don't know about that yet. It might not even fit the batteries for the other phone, because there's nothing wrong with my original Wiley Fox Spark, apart from the fact it's limited to Android 6, which means that it does irritating things like enlarge YouTube videos so you can only see a quarter of the screen if they're in 1080p. It's got a low res screen. It's slow. So I'll do a full-on review of the Honor 8 SE to let you know, and that was £100. And yesterday was kind of destroyed for me going out, purely because Amazon delivery, they managed to lose it, so I didn't get it till about 5 o'clock in the evening, but I was waiting for it from pretty much the moment I got up, and I did not want to be chasing Amazon for a package. I've done that before, and they do make you pay. So I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to show you some of the features I've now got with my new phone in combination with this setup, because I can actually use the phone as a remote control for both the camera and the gimbal pretty much at the same time. Okay, so this is me connecting the gimbal to the iSteady Pro software, which is Hohem Gimset, if you want to download it from the Android Play Store. And I'm just screwing on the little tripod foot, and making sure I don't knock anything over by disconnecting the camera. So the camera's now on the ground. Okay. So with the software I've got, pretty much 2-axis control. And when I'm better at controlling it, I'll be able to set up time lapses, and it'll actually give me the degrees at which it's tilted, and it gives me a battery feedback and allows me to change all the settings and calibrate the gimbal just from my phone. And the other thing I've got is the Hawkeye Firefly controller software, So it's failed to connect, so I'm going to have to restart the camera. So this is the Firefly camera set to record, and the great thing is because they're using different networks, I can leave it recording once I've set up the shot. Going to the home GIMP set, and hopefully maybe not. I can start it recording, fire up the Bluetooth, and there we got it. So I can start my camera remotely and change all the settings remotely. I'm wondering if I can go back to the Hawkeye. I can stop the recording, and I can start it again, and I've got control, and I can flick back between those two apps and frame shots and all sorts of things now, and that's all remotely, which is extremely handy. So what I'm going to try and do this morning is do some reviews of the two bits of kit. Pull that down. Probably bring it round. And it's died. So I can sort of reset it. Hopefully the audio isn't too bad quality. The microphone cable that I'm using because I wanted to bring out less stuff is a bit short. But hey, that's what we do. It's all about improvising and compromising. So yeah, let's continue on our walk. So now I can, albeit briefly, move around and change a shot remotely. I can possibly set up all kinds of other things, but it looks like from tomorrow anyway, because I've got a lot to do tomorrow and a lot to do today. So from tomorrow, when I do my super long run, which isn't going to be fun, but you know, that's what we do after a week. Although I did get exercise, it wasn't running. So yeah, tomorrow, when I do the running and I do the sit-ups and all that sort of gubbins, it's all going to be shot on the same camera, because I can now organise and frame a shot without too much messing around, which is cool. It also has lots of other applications, and I'm sure you can think of what it would be like to have a super portable, essentially 4K remotely controllable action camera. I'm sure everybody can think of lots of uses to that. So yeah, So I thought I'd show you that. That works now. So, given that I was going to have to repair my phone and buy a new phone this month, I think it was worth splurging the extra 25 quid and having to put off the 3D printer purchase till next month. So yeah, it's one of those things, you know. I think we're getting, you know, this month I'm getting more, you know, although last month was a huge spend on filmmaking equipment comparatively. But having a better mobile phone and having those capabilities built into the phone to give me that kind of control so I can frame that shot is pretty cool, and being able to remote monitor it to see where roughly it is. So yeah, so I had to make a call. So that's the equipment bit. I want to talk a little bit about the hiking. We did set off in good spirits. I had checked a few different places to see whether the Oldham Way blazes were up, and we were going great guns on the first day, on the only day where we were hiking it proper, and the blazes are not followable. Now, if you live somewhere wild and woolly like America, and that's the perspective I was taking, I'd never have gone out without a map of, say, something like the Appalachian Trail. This is just the Oldham Way. That's a rambling trail. That's a through hike of apparently 40 miles. But the downside is that you spend so much time looking for the blazes that it takes so much longer to do anything. It feels like a lot longer. So that the bit at the end of the Oldham Way adventure walk on the canal, we shouldn't have been on that canal anyway, but the blazes pointed us in that direction. They pretty much said, oh, go down the canal. And we even asked for directions so we could sort of catch up with the trail after our detour to a place called Dovestones Reservoir, which is where the Oldham Way walks, and we were directed to walk along the canal, and which we did after doing about a 20-minute loop. So, you know, nearly a mile in a roundabout walk that really, when you see the same bit of path that you've already walked for the second time and you're carrying a heavy pack, that's very dispiriting. And we'd already lost and found the trail a couple of times that day. Which ate up loads of time, which slowed our progress quite considerably. So if you're being charitable, I think we probably covered about 3 miles an hour, maybe a little less, for probably 7 hours before we gave up. So I think it may be a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but there's no way we covered half of the Oldham Way. So I think they've very much generalised it rather than walked it themselves and given a pace marker for it to say it's 40 miles. It's much longer than that. So we found our place in found ourselves in a place called Greenhouse, which is about a mile off the Oldham Way, and we found ourselves in proximity to the only station that's easy to get to from the Oldham Way, and we were both very pissed off. We knew we were a long way off the map, and we knew we'd have to schlep back a good couple of miles before we realised that the advice that we'd been given wasn't any good. So, not wanting to make a snap decision, we stopped for a pasty and sat down and drank some water and discussed the options. And I checked the train times, and we had about 15 minutes to decide whether we were going to blindly push on with no knowledge of where we might camp that night, because we'd taken all our wild camping gear, or whether we just go, right, okay, this is definitely a job for a map, a compass and a GPS system to be done properly. It's not a trail. All the other national trails are clearly marked. This one isn't. Our suspicions were borne out on Thursday morning when we went for a little bit of a walk to explore the other direction, because there's a big loop and it starts near my house, which is why we picked it. We've got no transportation worries, no car to get back to. We just walk out the front door. 100 yards later we're on the Oldham Way. So we went the other way. So we were proceeding anti-clockwise around the Oldham Way, and we decided to go clockwise and see what was there. And just using the markers, we weren't going to go far, just a few miles, see what it was like. Going by the markers that were up, which we did. You know, we've got two people that avidly want to explore the walk. It wasn't sabotaged. We weren't being lazy. We're not bad at navigation. But we did manage to take a completely wrong turn. And once you've taken one wrong turn, your chances of seeing the blazes are nil. So you start seeing all the other footpath blazes and you're wondering whether they've doubled up and just put footpath blazes out. So we went off exploring, trying to find the Oldham Way, and we didn't find it. And then when we came back and I realised where we were, we'd come round in a bit of a loop inadvertently, and we were in completely the wrong place. So that happened to us twice. Even locally, you can get turned around. I mean, I knew where we were, but I knew that we weren't on the Oldham Way. So yeah. But we were rewarded. On the Monday, when we were walking the Oldham Way, we saw a whole bunch of wild mink living in the park, like 5 or 6 of them in a burrow, poking their heads out. That was good. And they were down by the side of the river. And even better, on the Thursday when we were doing our recon walk, and I'll show you a bit of that. We got some footage for that, but only about 10 minutes worth. But this explanation video and gear video will be separate. So if you watch the recon walk, you'll notice that it's only about 10 minutes long, and I cut it short. But just past where I finished filming, when we realised where we were and how far off track we were, we wandered back, and basically we'd brought along lunch because we didn't know how long we would be out for. And while we were sitting down having lunch, a lone fox cub just wandered up to where we were sat down and got to within, I don't know, 8 to 10 feet of us, and stood there for a little while actually and regarded us, decided we probably weren't anything that could be played with, and then scampered off, which sadly we don't have any footage of, because obviously when you see something magical like that in nature, we're going, well, this is pretty magical. And it was absolutely stunning. And the interesting thing is that we had to take a wrong turn on the second day. Sorry, we had to get lost on the first day in order to not walk all of the Oldham Way, in order to be going on the recon walk anyway. And we had to take a wrong turn on the Thursday in order to be in the little place where the fox was. So do I trade walking the Oldham Way for seeing like a real life fox cub come to within a few metres of me? Yep. Because I've seen a few foxes out in the wild while I've been wild camping, but I've never ever been that close to a fox cub in the wild. So yeah, I know foxes are kind of urban dwellers and people see them all the time and stuff like that, but I don't. And all the wildlife we did see. On the Monday we saw a hare, saw a few birds of prey, saw loads of stuff really. So yeah. So it wasn't all a loss by any means. In a way, I was kind of saved from walking the Oldham Way, because the All Arms Bergen is by no means comparatively a hiking rucksack, even though I did Hadrian's Wall. Looking back on it, that was using that rucksack and walking about 100 miles with it, fully laden, 40 pounds in weight of kit in the backpack. side pouches, webbing, all that is, you know, that I managed to carry all that for that length of time and that distance is amazing. But I did on the Tuesday, obviously, not on the Monday, no, but on the Tuesday went into a charity shop and found a really good Kathmandu 65 litre hiking rucksack with a fully adjustable frame for £5 in new condition. And it's one of those backpacks that literally zips and folds down into a holdall. So comes out with a zip cover to cover up all the straps in the frame, so you can actually fly with it. As long as lots of useful compartments for the sort of things that I'm likely to be carrying. So it's a pretty good backpack. And that's the one I took with me for the wild camping thing, even though I was only carrying it about half a mile to see, and both of our shoulders were in crappy shape. And I just didn't feel it. I have seen the light. I would have defended the All Arms Bergen and called anybody that didn't use one for hiking long distances, you know, a pansy. But it has to be said, I'm getting old now. And unnecessary pain while you're already doing something strenuous is a thing to be striven for. So yeah, so I've seen the light as far as getting a decent rucksack. This is my first adjustable frame rucksack, and wow, it makes a difference. I wonder what I'm capable of when I'm wearing a good rucksack. You know, if I can march, 100 miles with full kit in less than a week, with an All Arms Bergen just dragging at me like a concrete slab with straps on. How far can I push myself if I'm wearing the proper rucksack? You be the judge, our lines are open. So yeah, maybe it will be something that I want to do. I mean, I'm definitely looking at very, very seriously at doing another 2 days worth of the Oldham Way, going out on my Friday off and just hiking with a light pack, not aiming to camp overnight, but just so I can explore it and know the way, because I know Dean would really like to complete the Oldham Way. I know he doesn't like leaving things undone. And he's planning, we're both planning to walk Hadrian's Wall again, maybe next year or the year after. Maybe see if we can celebrate Dean's 50th birthday on the wall. But yeah. So we failed really to do both missions, but now we are possessed of really, really reinforced feeling that, you might be walking just a trail that everybody says has got lots of markers on, but you shouldn't do it without a map or a compass or a GPS system, so you know where you are. You can find out where you should have been as quickly as possible. So don't do that. But it's worth a day of our time to really nail that down. I mean, imagine if we'd been somewhere really wild and woolly where there wasn't an option and we got super lost and had somewhere to be at a particular time. Would have been bad. So if you're going to fail, that was quite a low-key fail. It was a bit disappointing, but, other things made up for it. It's a bit like, my phone crapping out was a bit disappointing, given I only got it repaired a couple of months ago. But I've made the choice. I've got a new phone. It's faster. That's going to affect my daily life, just having a nicer phone with a bigger screen. And you got the whole thing with the full-on remote control that's largely most of the time going to be in my pocket. So yeah, stuff like that. So yeah. So I just wanted to do a video where I kind of explain what went down with the walks. The wild camping video isn't about wild camping really. It's just, two guys chatting about all the crazy shit that people talk about in hammocks. You can watch wild camping videos anywhere, really. with varying degrees of skill. And I do plan to do like a wild camping chunk of urban agoge, given that I'm so close and the summer's coming, and all those sort of like mid-mornings and early afternoons that I've got free. So yeah, so expect more of that, and maybe we'll go through all the things. But I think in the video, if you watch all the video, I do go on about improvisation and fortitude and adaptability. You know, you've got to have those things, because guaranteed a few bits and pieces will go wrong every time you go wild camping. It doesn't matter how good you get, there's always going to be a tree that's slightly too far away, all kinds of stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's me rambling on for enough. I've given you a very brief demonstration of the remote. Perhaps I can do a better video when I'm indoors and I've got it all set up. Yeah, bit of an overview of the walking that we did on my adventure week off of doing the running. And yeah, we're back to we're back to running tomorrow morning, and then I'll be back to work. I've had a lovely week off. It was good to hang out with my best mate. He lives a couple of 100 miles away from me, and we're both busy all the time, so I don't get to see or hang out with each other all that much. I guess if I worked a 9-to-5 job, there'd be a lot more me wandering down there for the weekend and stuff. But if I had a 9-to-5 job, I probably wouldn't be able to record this and make as many videos as I do. So I wanted to give you guys at least the equivalent of a video a day, even though, you know, you walk 25 miles with a heavy pack or 20 miles with a heavy pack and then sit down and go, I've just got to go out for a walk in the woods. And it ain't going to happen. Especially not when you're disappointed and you've got a friend to entertain and stuff like that. Not going to work. So I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully I'll get some equipment videos, or at least a video about the rig that I'm using and the extended rig and all the other bits and bobs sometime later this morning. But I'm going to get this up to you first and it all edited, so you've at least had 3 videos this week. Hopefully we're going to make it, 4 and 5. But I've got a lot of stuff to go on to today, and I've got to surprise a friend later on today at the community radio station I used to work at, because I've got a Sunday off for the first time in ages, and it so happens to be a Sunday that I'm off, and the Sunday that they're broadcasting. I'm going to go and drop back in. If you've ever watched Rangers Tube, there's some footage of me and Gary in the same radio studio, or for the same radio station. The studio's moved, and I've got to go and get that sorted out. So yeah, hope that's made up for nearly a week of no vids, but I was doing stuff, as you can see from the videos that I posted up yesterday. So yeah, thanks for watching. Do take care, and tomorrow morning we're back into the routine.